Hey y'all, I'm back for the second video. I'm not sure how many this is going to take, but it'll take what it takes. So I want to come back to the Mother Goose real quick, and I didn't even show you the side where this one has, it's like a navy fabric and then a very pretty eyelet lace fabric, and then the buttons are sewn into the spine. So some of these are vintage buttons, and two of these are my homemade buttons. I forgot to show you that. So that's that on that one. And all the rest of these have, the buttons sewn in, the 3 signatures, the charms, the ties, the paperclip charms. This one I actually stuck up here on I Can Fly with a little piece of vintage lace behind the butterfly. It can be moved. It's on the bolt pin, so it can be moved. But this one and So Big and Busy Timmy, the sides are sort of a quilted fabric, okay? This came from this was a pillowcase. I'm not sure if this was vintage. I found it at a thrift store, but it looks vintage and it's just gorgeous. And so that's on the side of this one, along with, some of these beautiful, beautiful vintage buttons. And several of these were gifted to me from a customer. And she just awesome. Sent me some awesome things. So I'm going to go through I Can Fly. Then I'll do So Big. And then we'll see where we are. And I apologize if I've got, got a little bit of lighting craziness going on today. It's sunny outside, but it's not coming through in here, so I've got my light on. But so this is I Can Fly, and I did the same thing on this one. This came from a quilt a quilt square that I purchased from Patty Lang on one of her live sales. I'll try to, as I'm going through, tell you without being too annoying and repeating myself, where I got things. So this was quilt square, okay, and it's different pieces from that quilt square that I made this tie out of. So it's actually got the quilt square. This was the front and this was the back, and it was pretty worn out, so it wasn't real thick. So I was just kind of able to cut this and stitch this together. Now, disclaimer. These are scraps, okay? These are scrappy ties, so they're going to fray a little bit on the edge, and stuff like that. But they're not going anywhere. They are stitched several times, like 4 or 5 times down the middle. I don't know if you can see this. But you see that? So it gives it that, what I like to call that junky funky look. I really like it. Anyway, so that's that one. And here's the charm. On this one, you've got buttons and beads, and I'm having to keep refocusing. Hold on. So there's a bird and a key, some big vintage buttons, one of my favorite beads. Sorry, hit my camera. One of my favorite beads on this one, glass beads, a little flower. And then on the front of this one, I put some vintage lace. And then this is not vintage. This is like a little peak trim off some things I bought at Michael's. And same thing on the back, okay? And I also forgot to mention they all have book corners. They all have these same book corners on them, okay? So this is kind of tough, y'all, to go through 10 of them. This on the front, this was one of my butterfly kind of charms. It's thick that I made, and with the I Can Fly, I don't know. I thought it just was really cute on here, so I added that. And then inside, up underneath that quilt, I did like a thin layer of, it's almost like a pink sort of muslin. And then I just did some little trims here on the inside just to add a little bit. But same sort of thing here. There's vintage mixed with not vintage, and flowers and tabs and washi and feed sack and things tucked in pockets for you to use. There's a couple of little things just tucked here underneath the paper clip, stuff in the pocket. There's, you know, leftover papers, other things that I put in there. These were some real pretty little cards that came from a customer. And of course, like I said, I'm hoarding some of mine, but I'm sharing some of the others that really, thank you very much. You know who you are. I'm not gonna say your name. I know you don't want to be pointed out, but thank you. And, you know, little journaling cards from different things in my stash. So they really are a mixture of all sorts of things. And if I say that 500 times, I'm going to apologize now, but just in case somebody watches one video and not the other. And I love this little book. This one, some of these books too are a little bit rarer to find than others. I didn't mention that. And some of them are, you know, you can find them. But this is one that I purchased off of Etsy. And what's the copyright? The copyright on this one is 1951. And I had never seen this one until I came across it in Etsy. But anyway, she's so cute. I originally was going to keep this one for myself because of the title and just, you know, and then I thought, you know, I've got like 5 or 6 journals already. I don't need to do that. But look, isn't she so cute? Ton of stuff tucked in this pocket. This one also has some of the feed sack fabric tabs, some ideal book pages, vintage lace. This is some vintage lace that I got from Patty. I think that came from Patty. That either came from Patty or my store, and then some little buttons down here. Just regular yellow writing paper, cardstock, scrapbook paper, little card, little envelope stuck in there. Love this scrapbook paper. This is an Altenew paper. Flashcard. Here's the little CD in here that I did stitch the fabric on, but I clipped it in so you can put it wherever you want. This is actually from just to show you how my mind works. So, other than it's all over the place with, you know, 10 apps open at one time and trying to do 5 things at the same time. So, this paper right here came from a baby paper pad, but it's got the balloons, and, you know, it's the I Can Fly. So I thought, hey, that would work in here, and the colors went really well. So you can use stuff. You can just use stuff in so many different ways. You don't have to stick to what you think that particular product is marketed for, you know. But so these are some little. This is from my paper pad, and these are really cute. These are little cards. This also came from a customer. And I had never seen them. I think it's an October afternoon, but they're little like cereal box kind of little flashcards. I thought it was cute. So I stuck that one in there. And this is a little cluster that I made and I stitched, and then I glued it in here. So you got a tuck and a tuck here and a pocket. Another pocket here with some beautiful, I think this is a Maggie Holmes paper. If y'all have any questions about anything, just, you know, leave me a message. This, I just tied the linen thread here in a bow, and I don't think that I put anything on this. I'm trying to remember what, yeah, I put. So here I put some of my homemade buttons and the other 2 signatures. I don't know if you can see those. Look, isn't that cute? I'm merrier than a terrier. Anyway. So that I just left for you to do. Another one of my paper clips from the Mother Goose book. I'll put in here. Oh, she was cute. She's making tea. Some other little flashcards and a little image. This is a little graphics fairy image. A little girl with her paints. Another little bag. I did not put a tag in this one. I just left it. But I stitched around it and glued it in, and then there's some little lace and ribbon and a little vintage flower. This came from a vintage piece of linen. Little butterflies. Another little tag. See, in here I started doing some of this for you, and then in the other books I just decided I would give you the things, and all the little extra goodies just tucked in the book for you to use. Here's a music paper that I tea-dyed and did the little fold out, so it's a pocket here, stitched on it. There's a lot of stitching and sewing in here. I didn't mention that. I think well, probably did. You can see that. So I did a little pocket here. This is a little piece of sheet, like a vintage sheet, some fabric and some vintage lace. And I think that sheet came in some stuff that I bought from Brooke as well, over at Recreations. 2 more of my homemade buttons. Pitter, pitter, pat, I can walk like a cat. I just think this book is really cute. I love the illustrations in it too. Some little lace down the side of this one. I put some darker paper in some of these because if you have a white gel pen or chalk or whatever, it's really cool to write in the white. Here's the little hearts in this one. I put these little hearts in all of them. There's your bingo card, vintage bingo card. And that is the back of that one. So that is I Could Fly. And there's a lot in here, but there's still a lot of growing room, to add a lot of stuff. And you can see that. You can see there's a lot of space there still to grow. Okay, so that's I Can Fly. And then here is So Big. This is another one that I think is fairly rare. I'm sure you can find it, but I actually purchased this one in Busy Timmy from Jessica Harris. She has a shop and she has a YouTube channel and all that too. So here's the little paper clip on this one. And you can see the buttons on the side of this one. So there's handmade buttons and vintage buttons. And this is also a piece of a quilt. And I've actually, stitched around it, glued it on there. And the charm on this one has the same sort of stuff. The key, the buttons, the beads, I love the little ladybug, glass beads and wood beads, and just a mixture of things there. And then the tie on this one is from the same quilt. Well, actually it's a couple of pieces from this one and from another one. So here's the tie for this one. And this is just back with muslin. So some of them, they're not all the same, of course. So big. I love this one. This is also an older one, and this is a Eloise Wilkins. And this one, I love this right here, y'all. So this has some really pretty, I hope you can see it, some really pretty vintage lace. 2 different laces on the inside because I did muslin on the inside and then the quilt on the outside, so I wanted to add something here. But this is beautiful. And then washi tape here, just to give it some sturdiness. I love this book. This one is 1979. I will try to remember to tell y'all that. Same kind of stuff. I'm just gonna flip. This is actually, well, I'm gonna tell you this. This is a little flower paper clip that came in some Happy Meal Jessica sent me. This one has a mixture of the same sort of stuff. I made a pocket with this. This is a Childcraft page, and it's a little like a little story or a little poem about moving. But this little girl here was so cute, and I made a pocket. So I used some of that craft paper. So there's a pocket on the other side of that, and then you know the writing paper that flips out. Another little fabric little ruffle that I glued on there with some that feed sack and quilt. I think it's a mixture. But look at her. Look at that little girl. She's precious. It's just so pretty. And then some little vintage buttons in here. Washi. Did a lot of stitching in this one as well, and it's not going to show up as well here because it's in white. Some of the other stitching will show up better because it's in black. So here's the other side of that. You can see that little girl. I love these books. I wish I could find like, you know, 10 more of these little Childcraft books. I love the images in them. Let's focus it back. This is a vintage. I shared, this is the only one I think I put this in because to me it fits with this book. But this was a gift from a customer, and this is a vintage card about coming to a birthday party, and it's just so precious. So I'll put that in here. This is also from that nursery rhyme golden book. Put some of those pages in here. There's an envelope from a Little Engine That Could book. More book pages, some other things tucked in here for you to use. Washi tape. These are like, these are some kind of kids activity books. I think they're kind of like highlight books. There's an envelope in here that I put the washi on the end of it too. And on the other side there's an opening. This is from another little book page. I thought it was pretty, and it's a really nice kind of almost linen-y texture paper. Another Childcraft book, which I thought book page really fit really well in here with one of my handmade buttons and a vintage button. Another little card. Okay, and in these, and I think all the rest of them, they're not all quilted, and some of them there's quilted pockets. I think there may be one or two that's just other kind of fabric, but in several of these I did these quilted pockets with the different pieces of quilt fabric that I had, and did them in the squares, backed them on muslin, and then put a little pocket on the front of the pocket and put these little hearts in it. I thought that was really cute. I thought they turned out really cute. This is the other side of the envelope where I did the same thing. This is a piece of scrapbook paper, and then I did the butterfly, and that just holds that in. This one I put a button on it. And on this side, I did like a tuck. So there's a tuck here and a tuck here. With a little flash card in the scrapbook paper. I apologize for the shadows, y'all. If I try to wait for the best light, I'll never get this done, so. Some more golden book pages from the dictionary, washi tape. Just talking to the baby. More stuff tucked in here. This is a piece of fabric washi that was also gifted to me, and I need to find out how she did that. More buttons, the signatures. And this is a little piece of the quilt, of the other quilt that I used on the I Can Fly book. And then I just put some little buttons on a ball pen there. More stuff in the pockets for you. We'll flip out. Ledger, more of that. Some beautiful ledger from Renee. And that's the back of this one. I did the same thing in the back. I put those two laces in the back. And you really can't see. Can you see that lace? It's gorgeous. And it just worked perfect in this book. I hope you can see that. Anyway. Alright, so that's so big. And then there's a couple little extra things in the back. That's that one. And I'm at 20 minutes again, so I'm going to stop here and do another video. So the next one, yep, I guess I'm going to do about 2 in each one. So thank you guys. Thanks for stopping by and watching. Give me a thumbs up. I'll be back here shortly.